So I kind of failed on my 18th birthday, and that it didn't go to plans there, but I still remembered the promise that I made to myself, and I knew that I still didn't want to go back to that. I didn't want to be feeling that way. Like it was something that just brought you nothing. It was pointless. So I started to live by that. And around this time I don't know why, but I started just to have a feeling that I should check out church again. I couldn't tell you why I wanted to, because all I thought church was the most boring religious, just sing a couple hymns, sit down, stand up, sit down, just boring thing you could ever do on a Sunday morning. Like, I didn't see the point of it, but I had this desire to go there. I was like, why? Why would I want to go to church? Like, man, I couldn't believe it. So it went on for about 2 months, 3 months, I'd say. And I'd make the plan that week, like, all right, this week's going to be the week that I go to church. And I'd end up working that night or going out that night, and I'd get home late and I'd wake up in the morning. I'm like, no, I'm not going. Like, I can't do this. Yeah, I'd just be exhausted every time. So I remember working one night, and I worked really late, and I worked until like 3 in the morning or something. It was crazy. I got home really late, and I remember getting home, I went to sleep, and I woke up at about 9 in the morning, and I had so much energy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, why do I have this much energy? This is ridiculous. This doesn't happen. And I just knew instantly, today's the day. Today's the day I'm going to church. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, why am I excited to go to church? Why would I want to go to church? And so I was like, whatever, let's just do it. Let's just do this thing. So I remember getting up, getting out of bed, and I walked out into the kitchen, and Mum's there cooking Dad breakfast, and she goes, what are you doing up, Lochlen? Why are you up? And I was wondering if it's cool if I come to church this morning. And she went, of course it is. Of course it's Lochlen. Yes, come. Do you want breakfast? What do you want for breakfast? I'll cook you anything. And I was like, awesome, yeah. And by this time, my eldest brother, Michael, he had been going to church a couple times as well. He'd been going up in Wollongong at university, and then he'd just moved back home, and he'd been a few times, but nothing really regular. It was just when he was feeling it. And so the night before, he ended up working a really late night, getting home around the same time as I did, and he got to sleep, and he woke up at the same time that I woke up. And he said to God, if I'm too tired, if you want me to go to church, you're going to have to give me a reason. Like, I'm not going. Like, I'm exhausted. So about 2 minutes later, I walk in the door, and I said to him, hey man, I'm thinking about going to church for the first time. Can you come along with me? And he just went, damn, like, man. And he was like, well, I'm not really going to get a better son than that, am I? So we ended up packing up, and yeah, we headed off to church. So I remember rolling into the church parking lot, and I hadn't been there in 9 years. It's been 8 years, and I thought it was going to be the most boring, average thing ever. Like, all these people are just going to be weird Christians that are just like too good for anything. And I remember rolling into the parking lot, and I just hear this booming. It's just booming, like bass just going. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that? And I remember walking up to the door, and I walk into the door, and it's just blasting. The music is crazy. And it's not like hymns. It's like proper, like rock, like amazing music. I'm like, what is going on? And I'd never been an unpopular guy at school. Never, like, I'd always had friends. I'd always been invited to the parties. I was never an unpopular person. But whenever I'd go to a party or a social event, I'd always feel like there would be that person or group or something like that. They wouldn't want me there. I'd walk in, and they would say, oh, Lochlen's here. Oh no, I wish he wasn't here. And I'd always feel that. And I remember walking into church for the first time, and it literally hit me. I didn't know what it was. I was like, I had no idea what it was. And I felt it. I felt it was the love of God. It was the love of God just pushing on me. I was like, what is this? Like, I just felt it flow through my body. It was like, this is crazy. I don't know, what is this? And I remember walking up to these people, and they hadn't seen me in like 8-9 years, and they know what I'd been doing. Like, they know the life that I'd been living. All my mum's friends and all these people, like, they have me on Facebook and stuff. And there was nothing but complete love from them, and that blew me away. I walked in there, and I could see in their eyes. If I saw that there was judgment, I would have seen it. I would have felt it. If they were like, oh, it's Lochlen, look what he's been doing. I can't believe he's here. Let's just love him anyway. And I would have noticed that. But I walked in there, and it was just nothing but, I'm so happy you're here, Lochlen. It's so amazing. Can I get you anything? Like, this is like, it's great. And it was true love. It was true love that they were just pouring out. So then I remember walking around the corner, and the church was on fire. It was just crazy. The worship was going insane. And we have, at our church, there's a lot of Samoan and Tongan people. And so I remember walking around, and all the people, all the ladies, all the big ladies are just dancing in the aisles. And it was like, what? This is the craziest thing ever. Everyone's just up the rows, up like everywhere, and just dancing and praising God. And I was like, this isn't church. Like, everyone stands still with their hands behind their back and sings a hymn. Like, this isn't what church is. And I couldn't believe it, and it was amazing. I could feel it. And so I remember sitting down and listening to the sermon. I don't remember what he actually spoke about, but I remember it just hit me straight in the heart. Like, it felt like it was directed straight at me. I couldn't believe it, and it just was breaking me down. So I ended up going to church a couple more weeks, like 2 more weeks, and then a evangelist ended up coming to town, and he was a healing evangelist from Brazil. And I didn't really want to go, but Mum asked me, like, hey, do you want to come to this? It would be amazing for you to hear and see all of this stuff. It would be really cool. And I was like, I don't really want to go. That's going to be weird. Like, that's not for me. But I ended up going anyway. And I remember, throughout the night, he had been praying for people, and people are saying they were getting healed, and like, this is from the Holy Spirit and all this stuff. And I was like, nah, that's fake. That's fake. That's not real. Like, man, God isn't working today. If God was healing people today, I would have seen it. I would have seen it on the news. They would have talked about it. So it comes to the end of the night, and he says, if anyone in here has never felt the Holy Spirit, please walk forward. Please come up the front. And so a bunch of people were starting to walk up and line up in a row, like 15, 20 people. And I was like, that's not for me. I started walking back to the back of the tent. I'm like, I'm out. That is not for me. And I was walking to my mum at the back, and he yelled out to me, and he said, you, get up here. And I'm like, how do you know that I've never felt the Holy Spirit? You can't say that. And like, how do you know that my mum's never felt? How do you know? And I was like, man, or whatever. So I walked up the front. He starts praying for people along the road. And I'd seen videos like this on Facebook before, where the pastor will pray for the person, and he'll just fall back and just like freak out, laugh, cry, and just like, or be like knocked out. And I'd always thought that is the most fakest thing in the world, and they're just playing, or it's the placebo effect. Like, they want it to happen so bad that it happens. So he's going along this line praying for people, and people are falling over, laughing, crying. Just it was crazy. And I was like, that's fake. I don't care, that is fake. I don't believe in this. And as he's getting close to me, I'm thinking, no matter what he does, I will not react. I will not react no matter what. I'm just going to stand here still and be strong. And he ends up putting his hand on me, and he prays, and it just hit me, and I just started falling. And I was like, this is not happening. This is not happening. Why is this happening? but I couldn't do anything about it. I was just falling, and I ended up just kind of snapping out. And I remember I caught myself like half falling over. I just caught myself halfway down. And he went to walk to the next person, and he turned and he saw that I was fighting and like that I stopped halfway, and he said, "Get back up." So I got back up, and he said a quick prayer, just said like Jesus, and I just boom, I was out. I just complete knocked out, fall down, and to this day, it is the most happiest, most joyful, amazing, true living feeling that I've ever felt in my life. I couldn't believe how happy I was. I don't have words. There are not words for the way I felt. I couldn't believe it. And it just hit me. It was like, this is real. Like, this is actually real. Like, God is alive and present in today. And if like this whole thing, everything that I've been questioning, this is legit. I couldn't believe it.